Bring it on one-eyed Willie.
Ooh! Your bullets. They're really fast.
Deadpool 2 is up against Avengers Infinity War. There'll be a big box office battle. If you could pick any Avenger to watch kick Deadpool's ass, who would you pick?
Wait, say that again. If I could pick an Avenger.
To kick Deadpool's ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, who would be good? Who would be good? Scott. Oh, Scott. One of the women. One of the women. Either Scarlet Witch, which is Lizzie Olsen, or Scarlett Johansson. Just because I would like to have his ass kicked by a woman, for sure.
Now, you know, Cable turns back time in this movie.
Yeah.
If you could turn back time, change anything about any role you've ever done,
Oh, good. That's a better question.
what would you do?
Jonah Hex. Yeah, I'd go back. If I could morph, I'd morph into an eraser. And I'd erase it.
Erase Jonah Hex.
I would.
What's the weirdest way that you prepared for this movie? What was the weirdest
I've never
thing?
focused so much on cosmetics, body and the sculpting and all that kind of stuff and working out. Like I've always kind of done interior working out. And it was fun, you know, creating the scar and all that kind of stuff. So when I saw Dave Bautista in Gold's Gym, the Mecca, and he was like, whoa, what happened to you? That's when I knew I was on the right track.
And if you could give yourself a mutant power, what would it be?
The ability to turn into an eraser. And erase Jonah Hex. I don't feel that way about Jonah Hex, but I just like the way it sounds.
And what do you hope audiences take away from this movie?
Entertainment, you know what I mean? I think it's fun, it's funny, it's a great breath of fresh air within all, not necessarily the seriousness, but the grand kind of presentation that Marvel movies are, you know? And this is just kind of this irreverent bastard stepchild that's just like this kid in an aisle in a grocery store that's just freaking out. That's Ryan Reynolds all over it, you know?
You know, there's a fun say anything moment in this film when, you know, when they hold up the radio and there's a song blaring. What song do you go to kind of say, win somebody over, win somebody back?
Oh, the song from Tootsie. That was a good song. I played that for a girl when I was 14 years old.
Really?
I took the fun. Yeah, it was awful, man.
What did you?
She like ran, and then she like hung up the phone, and that wasn't enough.
So you
she
just
ran out of her
called
house.
her and just. And
I
just
did.
Put the
There was
phone
I
up to the
had
radio.
a record player, and I took it, and I remember the song. Yeah, it was awful.
You didn't win her over.
I did not win her over with that song. No.
A lot of people are calling this the summer of Josh Brolin. You have 4 films.
Okay.
Over 4 consecutive months. And what's interesting, you played kind of devastating characters, destructive characters in all 4 of them. Who do you think's the most destructive?
Destructive
Yeah.
is definitely Thanos. Thanos is a great destructive character who has the right intentions, just the wrong manifestations of that intention. I like that character a lot. I think it was a really fun character. It's a fun movie to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, destructive character, yeah, I guess they are. You know, I mean, I know that there was a moment of like, I want to find this type of thing to do, and I found it. And even though it's over a 2.5-year period, it's all coming out within 4 months, except for Only the Brave, which is really weird.
Who do you think would win between Thanos and Cable?
You know what? People have asked that, and if like Thanos, it's so funny even to answer this question with any kind of seriousness whatsoever. But if Thanos didn't have, which I didn't think about, if he didn't have the gauntlet, then it would be more of an even tete-a-tete, I think. But Thanos, for sure. When
Thanos snapped his finger, did Josh Brolin live or die?
I lived, obviously. I'm here with you. I survived. I was one of the few.
Meet Bedlam.
Domino, I'm lucky.
Luck isn't a superpower.
And certainly not very cinematic.
Yes, it is.
Let's meet in the middle and say no, it isn't.
So if you could pick any Avenger and watch that Avenger kick Deadpool's ass, who would it be?
Thanos.
Huh? For me, it wouldn't be Thanos. It would be like the weakest character and like
Is he weak,
but
though?
you know Ant-Man. You know his friend, like that.
Michael Payne, the
Yeah.
character?
I would love
Deadpool
him to
just
take
kick
down
his
Deadpool
ass.
because like no powers at all, super funny. I loved him in that movie, so yeah.
What is the weirdest way or the most unconventional way that you prepared for this movie?
I had a coach just to help me get into character. He's a very angry character. So what we did, he got all these balls, And the coach would stand in front of a concrete wall and he's like, imagine these are fireballs, okay? So I'd carry them and he's like, throw them at me. And he would just like piss me off and I'd just like throw them at him and he'd be like, come on, you're hitting me. And he's quite a twig, like he's quite skinny, so he'd just like body roll and move out of the way. And I would just have to, he would worm on the ground. So I'd just throw them at him and it was super cool.
That's cool. I don't know if this is weird, but I almost every day before shooting, my boyfriend is an actor too, and I'd call him and be like, all right, I have to do this scene, like, what should I do? How could I, how should I try this line? I'd write down different alts and different ways of interpreting different things, and we'd talk about oh yeah, it'd be funny to approach it this way or that way, but I would talk through every scene with him, and we would conclusively together come up with a conclusion on a good way to approach it.
Well, that's good because you want to go. That was a good thing. Same with Andrew McAvoy, the coach.
Yeah.
You want to go do a scene with an idea of what
you can't go in blind. And I think that's the thing is that's where directing comes in is right. You the director's making sure everybody's making the same movie. So you come in with your own interpretation and stuff, but then they guide you into this
they mold that.
This is the world,
yeah.
And I mean, I'm the first to say I need a director. I think I can take a note like a champ, but I like the guidance.
Just do it more. But what do you mean by do it more?
Yeah.
Do it bigger.
And
what do you mean by do it bigger?
And if you could give yourself a mutant power, what would it be?
I'm happy with fire, but I would really like something like
I'd fly.
water fist.
Water, air fist.
Just the Avatar.
Down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go. Tell me they got that in slow motion.
If you could pick any Avenger, who would you want to watch kick Deadpool's ass?
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, would have a particular choice. I don't know. Who would it be? I think I'd like to see Hawkeye kick Deadpool's ass.
What's the weirdest way that you prepared for this movie? Anything unconventional that you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think prepared, it's not super unconventional, but it's what I do. We created a music song list. Ryan started it, and he had a lot of songs already logged on it, and then we started to share songs on it. And it was sort of try to get the soundtrack of the movie. I had done that with Atomic Blonde, but it was just me. That was really interesting, getting into his headspace about the tone and what he thought for this moment and why a subversive track works here and why a sincere track works there. And so that process was, invaluable, and it helped us keep the tone of the movie just right.
There's a fun Say Anything moment in homage to that, holding up the radio. If you could pick a song that you would hold up to kind of win somebody back or win somebody over, what song would you go to?
Chicago, it's hard to say I'm sorry, maybe, That might be it, yeah. That was actually in the running for a while. And, the Peter Gabriel is obviously the classic total nod.
Yeah.
But, Chicago, hard to say I'm sorry, our love was meant to be.
If you could give yourself a mutant power, what would it be?
I want Domino's power. That's, luck is the best, right? I just want to walk out that door, walk across the street, have 2 cars miss me. Yep. Go up to the coffee shop, somebody hands me a latte, it's just luck.
Right on. And what do you hope audiences take away from this movie?
Talking about the great time that they had. Actually, really, and I always say this, I hope they take home sort of the moral message. And I guess it's hard to say, it's a moral message, Deadpool shoots everybody. How could there be a moral message? And I'm like, there is a moral message. He is trying to do the right thing. And what he's trying to do is show this kid some kindness in a world that has oppressed this kid. And by showing that kid kindness, he stops this kid from being, something bad. And that's a huge, huge moral lesson that maybe we could sort of take home.
Your time's up, dumbass.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
So how much did the script change when Josh Brolin came on board, knowing that he was playing Thanos?
We wrote a couple Thanos jokes just because we figured we should make a nod to it. We hadn't seen Avengers though, so we didn't really know what we were up against, and Thanos is a tremendously awesome character. It didn't change too much. Like the structure was the same. We obviously changed the character a
voice
little bit for
bit.
Josh's voice and his strengths and how he's able to emote so much without saying anything, like just on his face. So that helped.
You know, and speaking of kind of writing jokes like that, how fluid is the script? You know, current references.
It's so fluid. I mean, it's so fluid that the Brown Panther joke was
About
added
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the great thing is he's in a mask, so we can put words into his mouth up until we lock picture. So it is a constantly evolving, you know, joke machine, you know, from the very start of the process, which was on this movie, June of 2015, all the way up to 2 weeks ago. So.
And do you have a specific process in terms of like mapping out the story, the action, the jokes? Do you do it all at the same time?
Well, you generally work on structure and story first, so you get it outlined to where you know what's going to happen in every scene and in what order, and then you start to fill in the actual screenplay pages, and then the jokes are the last thing that are changing, you know, and they can change on the day, and again, even as recently as a couple weeks ago. So it's big blocks first, little blocks later.
Structure, generally, once you've built the foundation, that hopefully never changes from, you know, conception all the way to screen, because if that changes, you start getting into big trouble.
And was there anything too hot to handle that they're like, guys, we can't?
A Disney joke. We wrote one Disney joke once we found out the merger was going to happen, and it didn't. It
was
make
actually
it in. Oh no, it was before the merger was going to happen.
It died because of the merger.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, and I think it was we didn't want to bring down a multi-billion-dollar corporate merger with one silly joke, so we didn't want Robert Iger and Rupert Murdoch to be chasing us down the street. You know.
Do you think Deadpool could exist in that post-merger world?
Absolutely, I think he will exist. There's no doubt about it.
And how hard is it for you now giving up sort of your baby because they're doing the X-Force movie?
Yeah, it's going out into the world. Well, I mean, our hope is that we'll be working on Deadpool 3 while they're doing X-Force or getting it ready. So we were going to stagger these things out. But it's in great hands with Drew Goddard, so we're excited.
And last but not least,
Peter, any power you want to tell us about?
I don't have one. I just saw the ad.
You're in.